Welcome to another episode of season 2 of Dr. G at the Heart of Healthcare. Today we are talking with the CEO of Alpha Comfort Care, Mr. Jonathan Lewis, about the work he's doing over there in Georgia. Say that like Tyler Perry, and just kind of raise awareness to some of the great work that's being done with the Medicaid waiver. So, welcome to the show, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Dr. G, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Likewise, likewise. Yeah. So, audience, I met some of his colleagues from the EPRIN group at Elevate, our premier conference with Hospice News in DC while we were there for Hospice Action Week. And we were all there to learn and to do better and to continue to elevate the hospice industry. And so, Mr. Lewis here, we got connected, and he is right in the infancy of the hospice program there in Georgia. But you have a background in this, right? So I want to
Well,
set that up.
I would hope so. I didn't wake up, just in the middle of the night and just found myself in the CEO position.
Hey, maybe you did. Maybe you did. So let's tell the people, I really, appreciate leaders like you, even though I'm a clinician, people like me rely on strong leadership so that we can have the freedom to do the work we do in the field. And so that's why I want to highlight you today. So let me just say a little bit about your bio, if you don't mind, or you can take it, once I set it up a little bit. So I hear you're from New Jersey, a little bit of Caribbean background. We like that. And you went to school in New York, and told me that when we were preparing that you did some work with um, home health agencies that were private pay in New York, and kind of did the business development with the Efren Home Care, and did all that work. It's a lot over there. It's a different world over there on the East Coast. So
Y-
so kind of let us know about that.
Yes, so I originally, found my footing as far as in the home care industry, working for a company that did a lot of private pay with different hospitals in New York City, whether it was HSS, a lot of those NYP contracts. Just it's like a lot of private duty nursing with RNs, CNAs that provided bedside care, almost in a sense where it's like tailored to like the patient's needs, just because during COVID, or even before COVID, it could get a little crowded, in the hospital, a little busy. So a lot of the people that might have went in for knee surgery, back surgery, hip replacements, they would feel a lot more comfortable with having like a registered nurse or an LPN or a CNA by their bedside. And that's when my previous work before I came to EPRIN. That's what I did. So a lot of like the liaisons between the different units in the hospital, being the face of that company, just making those referrals feel comfortable, feel confident in the services that we offer. And I took that experience to EPRIN, as the director of business development. We do a lot of specialty work in the NHTD, which is the Nursing Home Transition Diversion Waiver, in New York. Essentially, what that waiver is, it's a Medicaid funded waiver for people with Alzheimer's and dementia that's at risk of being in the nursing home. That waiver assists those participants to remain in their community with their families and their loved ones, safely, with HCSS, which essentially is a HHA, at the house that assists them with the ADL needs, whether it's like cooking, like housekeeping, just ensuring that they remain safely in the community without going into the nursing home.
That's good work. Good work. We call that IHSS over here. Thank you for mentioning that because I recently did an episode with agency here, Coast Care, and they have a CalAIM program. That's the Medicaid, Medi-Cal here. So you're like the other counterpart. So I'm glad to hear other things like this going on across the country, serving underserved populations and vulnerable populations. What was so interesting is, hearing about the work that you've done with the, waiver for the disabled or the intellectually disabled and some of those other things. So maybe you can shed light on some of the vision and plans to do that, as you continue to grow with the agency.
Yes, so I know we're going to touch base on it. We have, my business partners in New York. Up here, we've recently purchased, originally it was a home care company, Alpha Comfort Care, a year ago. Now we're going into, like the hospice, and then with the home care, just, each states is very different as far as, different programs that they offer. So with Georgia, we doing like going into the EDWP waiver, which is very similar to what we do in New York with the NHCD, and then looking into different, DD waivers with people with developmental disabilities, just to, you know, grow and broaden our horizon.
So, is there something maybe in your background or that made you kind of gravitate to this industry or underserved folks?
Yes. So when I worked, with the hospitals, as far as, like the NYPs, the HCS, I mean the HSS, a lot of the persons that we serve, they could afford, those services. And when I came to EPRIN, as far as, being minority, and the company being, owned by minorities, it sets an example and precedents for our people, to show us, what ownership, looks like, to build for ourselves, gather up our own resources and provide for, people that look like yourself and myself as well. And that's something that, we will continue to embrace and push forward and move forward with, everywhere we go, whether it's Georgia now. We have another company in Connecticut that does, provide similar services to what we do in New York. So, it's one state at a time, and it's this is for our people, for minority folks that looks like yourself and myself.
Hmm. It's important. Earlier this year, Seven Palms, they featured me in an article talking about how um, Black Americans are underutilizing hospice care, end of life care. And, the interviewer was asking me a lot about distrust and things of that nature. So, during the interview, I did a lot of, education and I think enlightenment because I think when people hear things like this, they really don't understand what we're doing. And I really want to be careful with, when we have underserved populations, that we don't blame the barriers of care on the people who are vulnerable. Sometimes our society can do that, or sometimes they can say there's a lack of education, or, they, something, a deficit in them, when there's actually barriers that we have in the healthcare system that has caused the distrust in the folks. And so we in the healthcare system need to work to remove those barriers and to provide access to information that wasn't always there. So thank you for shedding light on that, because that's what I see you are doing. So if someone is watching this, on YouTube, or they're listening in their car, and they know someone who, they have a different type of insurance, they have Medicaid. A lot of folks do. The person who shared about San Diego, they said one third of the population here is Medi-Cal or Cal-AIM. And so it's very common. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And so how would they find these programs so that they can, age in place and be where they're most comfortable with their family and in the community? How would they, what's the first step?
The first step, for the NHTD waiver, they have different region in New York that essentially oversees the waiver. Like the ORDC, or whether it's Silo in Long Island, where those persons that are at risk of going into a nursing home, if they have family members that wants to, keep them in the community, or they want to remain in the community, that they could look into, where they would essentially, assist them with, staying in the community safely. The waiver offers a lot more than just, like the home care benefits. There's, ILSTs, where they help those persons remain in the community independently, as far as assisting with like their monthly bills, food provisions, all that kind of stuff.
That's good. And so I'm not too familiar with, the landscape of Atlanta, or Georgia. What city are you in? Is it Atlanta? I shouldn't assume that.
Yes, so we are in Atlanta, in the College Park area.
Okay.
The one of the most important things about us, Aprin Alpha Comfort Care, a lot of our offices is going to be in a location where the people, looks like myself and yourself, just because that's something that's very near and dear to my heart, as far as working with our population, assisting them, providing those services to the people that looks like us.
So, what challenges have you encountered with helping, our community understand hospice care? I think everyone gets, the home care because, we do what we have to do to take care of our families. But, I had a recent situation where, this particular caregiver, they don't think they need hospice even though the person is near the end. And sometimes people don't understand what that means and what we do. Could you shed light on some of that for our listeners?
Yes, I think it starts with education, um, and just somebody explaining it to them that 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 has it within their hearts. I deal with a lot of marketers on a daily basis, and one of the things that sticks out, that makes like somebody a great marketer, is just the compassion, um, to helping. A lot of people, a lot of marketers, they don't look at it as like this is like a job to them. It's almost like a lifestyle. Any time of the day, somebody need anything, one of their referral sources need anything, it's just they pick up the phone, whether it's weekends, after hours. It's just something that they do, and I think that's similar to the feel of when it comes to hospice, with those families. Just continue that education, know how to approach it, in a delicate way, because if somebody is at the end of life, and need at the end of life care, it's a very a tough situation for anybody to be in, whether it's, for themselves personally or just a family or loved one. It's a very tough situation.
Mhm. Yeah, it is. And, you know, I've seen a lot of great outcomes with families, and that's why I was happy to highlight Alfred Comfort Care in your area, so folks can know that hospice care is available, and we can have um, make the best of that challenging situation, because we don't make it easier, but it's providing the health care that's needed at home. And that's what I hope people, can see it as, and end well. So, uh, any other thoughts about home care or hospice, or how we can, um, help educate the community and expand?
Well, my sentiment when it comes to home care is that it's an industry that's it's not going anywhere. It's a survey that's going on right now that says that every um every every 10 minutes it's about it's at least I forgot the number of how many people have turned in 60
Oh yeah.
in America.
Yeah, something like 60,000 or something like that. It's astronomical. The
Yeah,
silver tsunami is what some people call it.
yes. So with home care, it's not going to go anywhere. It might evolve. Even with hospitals, a lot of those cares they're being transitioned more into the home.
Yeah.
So that's the future that we're in, and I'm glad to be in the position that I am to continue to innovate, and set the trend, for my people.
Yeah. And you were in the thick of COVID in New York, right?
Yes, when a lot of people, they closed shop. We stayed in business, and we grew from it.
Hmm. I think that tragedy, that pandemic, that thing that ruined, kind of damaged us all, bruised us all. Everyone was impacted in some kind of way. I think it forced us to innovate. And it's a blessing that there's so many options for folks. And, with the staffing crises that we see, with nursing, a lot of physicians, they're leaving medicine, doing other things for whatever reasons, because the system has not been kind. It's good that we have other options and other innovations to serve people. So how do you go about selecting a medical director and all your medical staff, or that come in there? What are some criteria? See if I could meet up to that.
Well, one of the biggest things, for me, as far when it comes to the medical aspect, I don't have any clinical background whatsoever. The thing that stands out to me is what's within that person, as far as what's in their hearts. For me, my patients, they come first, over anything else. They're essentially the person that's keeping the lights on in the building, essentially. So somebody that shares that vision, internally, and that could go out, in the field, and take care of our patients, not just okay, but the best. And that's something that when I'm interviewing or sourcing for candidates, that's something that I really look for in someone.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not for the weak.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for your work. Thank you for being here. And I wish you continued success with Alpha Comfort Care and the increasing access to the underserved and those that are underrepresented. And so thank you for that. I'll let you have the final word here.
Well, thank you, Dr. G, for having me. And if anybody is viewing this, I do apologize for the paperwork that's in my background. I do work.
In real life.
Yes, the CEO is not just a title. Um, so thank you again for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I think we should do this again pretty soon.
Yeah, yeah, we got to dig into all that other work you were doing, on the East Coast and, those other populations. I really want to cover that. But for now, we will sign out on this episode and wishing great success with Alpha Comfort Care. Peace.
Thank you. Appreciate it.